over how to do cell linking, but more importantly, how to fix certain cells or anchor certain cells when you do cell linking. And this is really important because it's going to make your tendency reports become a lot easier and a lot quicker for you to do. So this data set is taken from week 17 of the 2019 season, where the Indianapolis Colts are playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. So for example, here, I want to know the pass location, right, middle, or left, which is taken from column T here. I want to know the total yards gained, I want to know the air yards, and I want to know the yards after the catch for each of these pass locations. So to do so, I'll simply do the sum F's for all three of these. So for yards here, I will go equals sum F, open bracket. My range is my criteria range, so again, that is going to be column T here for pass location. So I'll start T2, and I'm actually going to drag it down all the way to the end of my data. So I have from T2 to T72. I want it only when it is going to be equal to right, which I'm just going to cell link to the right, which is right here, comma, and then my sum range is going to be yards, so that is going to be yards gained, so that's going to be from R2, and because this was T2 to T72, I know I can go R2 colon R72, and if I grow down, these are going to be the same length, which is exactly what I want. Close bracket, enter. So here I have 37 yards gained when the pass location is to the right. Now I'm going to drag this down to middle and left, but there's going to be some issues here. So if I double click on the middle, what happens? This isn't at T2 and R2 anymore. It's at T3 and R3. And the reason for that is because when I drag this down, these cell links also come down 1. So then if I go to the left, they're going to be at 4 instead of 2, and that's because they're 2 down from where the right was. Well, I don't want that, so I'm going to delete that and delete the middle one. I want to make sure it stays at 2 and 72, so I'm going to double click in here for the formula, and now all I'm going to do is on the Mac, go Command T, or you can manually enter the dollar signs, but I'm going to fix or anchor these cells. So on the Mac, I'll go Command T and Command T for the T, and then for also the R, so Command T, or you can manually enter the dollar sign in front of both the letter and the number for the entire T column and the entire R column that we're using here. I'm not anchoring this AA2 because that's the pass location. I want that to change as I bring it down. So I'm going to hit enter. This doesn't change, but if I drag them down, the numbers probably won't change because there wasn't much data up at the very top of it anyways. But now if I click in the middle, as you can see, it stays as T2 to T72 and R2 to R72. That's really important because if I did have data up here, it's no longer going to be missing it. And I'll check for the left as well. And again, T2 and R2 is the start of that. Now that's going to be really important, and it's going to make it really easy for us to do tendency reports where we can simply click and drag. So if I go air yards now, it's going to be a very similar thing. I'll go equal sum F. My criteria range is going to be pass location, so that's going to be T2 to T72. My criteria is going to be equal if it's equal to that, which is right, and my sum range is going to be the total air yards, which is going to be U2 to U72, and bracket, enter. And now, notice how I didn't fix or anchor anything here. That's going to be a problem when I drag down, because if I click in the left one here, as you can see, they started 4 instead of 2, which if I did have data up here, that's going to be a problem. So I don't want that. But because yak, which is yards after the catch, is just one column to the right of your yards, I can also drag this cell one cell over to the right. And now if I click in that, you can see that instead of pass location air yards is air yards, yards after the catch. Well, that's not what I want. I want pass location and yards after the catch. So I'm going to delete that again. And here, I'm going to double click in it. And I want this pass location cell to remain constant the entire time. So I'm going to go Command T, and that's going to put the $sign in front of the letter and the number for both the start and the beginning of it. And now this I'm going to have to fix as well because I want that to remain constant throughout. So on the Mac, I go Command T, or you can put the $sign in front of the letter and the number manually. And now this U2 to U72 is what I'm going to want to fix. So I'm going to drag it to the right first, which means that I want to fix the number, but not the letter, because I want the letter to come over to the V, but I want it to remain as V2 through V72, even when I drag it down. So on the Mac, I'm going to go Command T once, twice, and here you can see the $sign is only in front of the number, and that means only the number is going to be fixed or anchored, which means when I drag it to the right, then it'll become V2. So if you want to only anchor the number, you're going to put the $sign only in front of the number. So for the U72, I'll do the same. So I'm going to Command T on the Mac, and that's going to allow you to anchor the number. I'll hit Enter, and then when I drag this over one cell to the right and double click in it, you can see that now I have pass location, my pass location here, and now it's yards after the catch. Well, that's exactly what I want, which is going to make this really nice for me. Now, one issue with it is if I drag this down now, this is going to remain pass location right because I anchored the AA2, which I didn't want to do. Instead of doing that, I should have only anchored the letters. I didn't want to anchor the number because by anchoring the number, it remains on this right. If I anchor the letters, it will remain in this AA column, which is the pass location column which I want. But I wanted to drag it down with me to the middle and the left as well. So I'll delete this cell, and I'll come back up to the yak, double click, click in this, and I can simply delete the $sign in from the two, or I can go Command T and Command T another time on the Mac. So I have the $sign from the letters only here. Everything else looks good. So I'm going to drag and drop this down to the middle and left. Now if I double click the middle, we can see it's T2 to T72, which is perfect. This is V2 through V72, which again is exactly what I want. And now this is AA3, which is exactly what I want. And if I come down to the left, it's the exact same thing. The only difference being it is now AA4, which is to the left, which again is exactly what I want. Now if I drag this to the left, what happens? Well, pass location, air yards, middle. Why? Because this pass location is completely fixed with both the column and rows. This AA3 is fixed solely on the column, so it's fixed on the AA. The number doesn't change. And because I just dragged it to the left, the number will remain the same anyways. And then the V and the U is only fixed on the numbers and not the column. So when I drag it to the left, it comes from V to U. And if I do that again with the yak and drag that to the left, it's the same thing. So fixing or anchoring cells is something that is really handy when it comes to creating various tendency reports because it allows you to drag and drop instead of rewriting the same formula or having to copy and paste the formula manually time after time. So by being able to fix and anchor the various cell linking, you're going to save yourself a lot of time. So thanks for watching.